Starting over on ITV2 now, The Late Show with David Letterman. Well, back here on Meridian, the top stories hitting the headlines at home and abroad.
Travel digital broadcaster in court to fend off creditors.
Naomi Campbell tells ITV News about High Court privacy win.
Man arrested after shooting leaves 8 dead in Paris.
And counting down to England's World Cup warm-up match.
The ITV Evening News with Dermot Monaghan and Shuli Ghosh.
Good evening, welcome to the programme.
Hello. The broadcaster ITV Digital went into administration this afternoon. In effect, its bosses have handed over the running of the company and the negotiating of its controversial football contract to a group of accountants. The High Court agreed that was the best way to keep the company going.
ITV Digital says it hasn't the money to honour its contract with the Football League, and without that money, many lower division clubs could fold. Chris Choi explains.
At the High Court this afternoon, crisis-ridden ITV Digital explained that it is no longer financially viable. Administrators were appointed. Crunch point came when the Football League refused to accept swinging cuts of £128 million for coverage. The pay TV firm, owned by Carlton and Granada, said it couldn't continue without such cuts to its overheads. Now court-appointed accountants have been given 2 weeks to reach a deal in the wrangle, seen as the end of the long-standing love affair between soccer and TV.
Our role is to continue negotiations with suppliers in an attempt to reduce the cost base of the business. If the process is successful, the ITV Digital platform will be preserved for the future.
ITV Digital has been beset by problems. The company paid a massive £315 million to screen Football League matches, but it has yet to reach its break-even point of 1.7 million subscribers. Almost a quarter of those who do subscribe later disconnect. Overall, ITV Digital is losing £1 million a day. Tonight, the company's boss says Britain's first through-the-aerial digital TV firm can still be saved.
We want to continue to work with the Football League in order to achieve a settlement which can work for them and can work for us so that we can continue our partnership in some form.
But the league says TV income is vital for the survival of smaller clubs, and tonight it remains determined to reject any cut. It claims that even if ITV Digital folds, its owners should pay up in full.
You enter in good faith into a contract with companies of the stature as Carlton Granada, companies with reputations to defend, and companies, let's face it, which are regulated by the government. You don't expect this type of behaviour.
Big bills, smaller than expected audiences, and a huge piracy problem. The crisis here does not bode well for Britain's digital future. And tonight, the company's 1.2 million customers are seeking some urgent reassurances. There is no prospect of blank screens. Carlton and Granada will continue short-term funding. But tonight, little else about ITV Digital's future can be certain. Chris Choi, ITV News.
Well, our business editor is at ITV Digital's headquarters. So, Caroline, what now for ITV Digital and its customers?
Well, ITV Digital have now bought themselves 2 weeks breathing space, and they will be hoping that the Football League will at last take seriously their claims that they simply can't afford to honour their debts of £178 million. And for consumers, during that 2 week period, there's no question, it will be business as usual. The question mark, of course, is what happens next. The best option for ITV Digital would be that they can persuade the Football League to do a deal with them. But if they can't, there are two options. Either the service will be sold or it will be closed down. And of course, that has huge implications for subscribers and leaves everybody in a state of confusion this evening.
Well, what about football clubs? How will the decision affect them?
Well, football clubs do find themselves somewhere between a rock and a hard place. Just to clarify, we're of course not talking about the Premiership, we're talking about Divisions 1, 2 and 3, the lower divisions. And many of those clubs are already struggling financially, and they depend hugely on the money they get from television rights, so they can't afford to lose that money. In fact, many of them say that they've negotiated contracts with players on the basis of those television rights. Now they may have to sell players. The problem is, who will want to buy them because all the lower division clubs are in the same state? They may have to renegotiate with their players to try to cut their salaries, and some of them, it has to be said, may just go to the wall.
Caroline, thank you.
The supermodel Naomi Campbell, who took on the Mirror newspaper for invading her privacy, won her court case today. She was angry the paper had printed a photograph of her leaving a narcotics